Good morning, friends. Welcome to the state of the market. Today, we are on live. Today is 6th June 2022, and this is the first episode of State of the Market. So, in this episode, we're going to discuss this market situation for Nifty futures and Bank Nifty futures. On Friday, what market did was it opened gap up at around 16,760 levels, and we see that it could not go past 16,800. This is where it immediately faces some resistance. So 16,790 was the level where buyers could not take the auction above that level towards the 200-day moving average, which is hovering near 16,900. This could have been the target for that day, but what happened is the momentum could not catch up in the market. Price went up, but the momentum could not catch up. And we see that slowly the market started falling towards the previous day's range. When we do not have momentum, we should not continue in that direction in the market. So this is the first point that every trader should remember. No matter whatever is the gap up, the first thing you have to look at is whether the momentum, whether it is RSI or ADX or any other indicator that you use, the momentum should not catch up. It doesn't matter which indicator you are using. Indicator is just a tool, but what is important is how you are reading it. So on Friday, we saw that the market opened gap up, but it did not have momentum. That means it did not have fuel. And you see that slowly the momentum died off. But initially, what market did was confusing within the initial range. That means in the first 15 minutes range, it confused both buyers and sellers with a two-dimensional edge for both sides. That means buyers thought it will go towards 200-day moving average, and sellers thought it will go towards the shorter averages like a 20-day moving average or a 50-day moving average. Eventually, because the momentum was not there, the market fell towards the shorter moving averages. That is, we have a 20-day moving average here. And today, what we'll be doing is we'll be looking at this zone in the auction, because our SGX is indicating a weak opening. We see that SGX is indicating a weak opening. We should open above 16,517 for the market to be bullish. If we are not opening above 16,517, we are going to fall towards 16,422. Why? Because if you look back at the auction in terms of volume profile, you see that we have the recent range volume profile, which is packed between 16,700 and 16,519. So probably we will open. You see that SGX is hovering around this level now. And slowly what will happen is after the open, if buyers are able to get above this zone, above this 16,700 to 16,500 zone, then they will be successful. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're slowly going to drift below 16,422 and then slowly fill this gap. So for all the last week, what I was expecting was we will fill this small gap which is lying here. If we do not fill this gap, the auction will always come towards this level. So basically on Friday when we gapped up, I expected the auction to fill this gap. If we fill this gap, eventually the market will have energy to go to the next levels. If we do not fill this gap, this is a zone where the business needs to be completed. So there is a lot of unfinished business here and we need to finish it and then go up or go further down. So that is Nifty. So in Nifty, we will open around 517 and look towards falling towards 16,422, which is a 20-day moving, 50-day moving average, sorry. And below that, we will start looking at filling the gap until 300. Now let's see what is happening in Bank Nifty. In Bank Nifty, again, you see that buyers came with a lot of enthusiasm on Friday. You see that the first part that they made was too hopeful. Immediately, the momentum fell off and it could not go further. And slowly, we drifted towards the moving averages. In Bank Nifty, the strange thing is that we have the moving averages which are cluttered here. Basically, it's a confluence zone. You see that a lot of moving averages are here, and that is the reason you see a big fall immediately below them. But if you look at market profile, you have a range which is around 35,311, which is the confluence zone in Bank Nifty. Let's see what is happening in Bank Nifty. In Bank Nifty, the situation is a bit dire because we have a large range that is acting here. So basically, you see when we look at this particular range, we see that we have the value area which is right back near 35,636. Earlier, this was at 35,352, and now it is around 35,636. So today, what can we expect in Bank Nifty? Again, today we may try to close this small gap, whatever is there, and on a larger time frame, we see a larger gap at lower levels. So we see a larger gap at lower levels. So today we may fill this small gap that is lying just below and then move towards downside. If we do not, if the auction wants to go upside, the level that we have to look at is 35,487. So basically, if this range is broken away between 35,482 and 35,831, if we break away out of this range, again, Bank Nifty will get into bullish zone and we have to break at least this first bar. One more thing we have to take from Friday is the size of this first bar. This will remain a key resistance zone for the next few sessions. So we have to keep this zone in mind before taking any action outside this range. That means on the bullish side, the market may spend a lot of time here before doing anything on the upside. And on the downside, we'll see that below 35,311, that is the low of Friday, there will be a lot of traction towards downside below 34,682. Let's see what is happening on the daily charts in both Nifty and Bank Nifty. So here, what is happening is Nifty is moving within a small range that needs to be filled here. That means we need to fill this gap below before doing anything. That's why we see that we have finished this gap and slowly are coming towards this range. Unless we fill this gap, the market will keep coming back again. Whatever it does, like even if it goes up, it will keep coming down because the momentum is not there. So sometimes what happens is in technical analysis, you learn that there are breakaway gaps. You see here, basically, if we have a gap, the market will have more energy when we fill that gap. For example, you see that on 16 March, we made a gap, but then the market did not have enough energy to continue. If it is a breakaway gap, for example, if there is a gap which is not filled, the market will keep going up, but eventually it has to come to that level. See that this gap is so prominent that it kept on filling the auction here, and once that is happy, once the market was happy by filling the zone, it went up. Similarly, on the downside, we have to fill this gap. See, this gap on the downside was not filled. So only if this gap is filled, we could have continuously fallen. You see that the market's gap is not filled, and this will remain a target when we are going up. So now, today, what I am expecting is we will fill this gap slowly, and then we have to reassess the auction whether it wants to go up or go down. Now, what is happening in Bank Nifty? In Bank Nifty, the situation is a bit different because here we have a small gap and a powerful gap that has made a kind of island, not an island in itself, but a kind of an island. You see that this gap is still having a lot of traction, and we need to fill this. So this zone needs to be filled up before doing anything on the upside. So in Bank Nifty and Nifty, today we are expecting a small downside, and for upper levels, we have to look for areas above this long bar. So we have to finish auction in this zone before doing anything on the upside. So any move above 35,900 will be met with lot of resistance. The market will not run away here. So this is a kind of around 400 points. So the market will slowly fill the auction here, spend some time, and then will go up. So this 35,900 is pretty good resistance where option players, option sellers mainly, can keep hope on. So we may open around these confluence, moving average confluence, and then drop below 35,311. If we break 35,311, the market can easily give up some 500 points towards this range. You see that below this range, we are going to fall with increased momentum below 311. So let's look at Reliance also, which looks a bit interesting. We see that again, Reliance went up on Friday, and there was no momentum. Initially, buyers struggled a lot to bring Reliance towards all-time highs. If we look at daily chart, Reliance is a bit at interesting resistance levels. Let's see what is happening there. So in Reliance, you see that we are at a perfect resistance. You see that we might face resistance at 2822 and 2856 levels, and this is where sellers will come and break the market down. Why that may happen is, you see that here the momentum needs a lot of traction here. We need at least 3 percentage points of momentum on RSI, and if that momentum is built, then probably we can try taking out stops above this level on daily chart. There might be many stops that might be lying here, and large traders might eye these stops for June expiry. That means they may first take out these stops. The market may go up a bit higher, like until 2878 or 2900, and then it may drop down. If we break this level, that is 28, if we open above and then break this level, we may look at a decent traction on the downside in Reliance. Now let's see what is happening on. So let's see where the channel is. So basically you see that 2856 is my level where the Reliance stock can break down if we do not get momentum. If we have momentum on the upside, we will go, but there is slim chance. That means the chance is very tight. Here, shorts will have more edge than longs. Unless we fill this zone with some kind of decent two-side activity in this zone, we cannot expect a strength on Reliance above 3000 levels. But if we break this zone, the immediate level is 3180, which is a good level where again we will get sellers. Now, how are we going? So now we have made our trading plan for the day. We understand where Nifty can go. But as a trader, you need to look at the odds rather than certainty while you are trading. So when the market opens, you have to see where the traction is, whether it is on the upside or downside. You can assess whether buyers or sellers are controlling the auction. You see that on Friday in Bank Nifty, sellers were strongly in control. That does not mean today they will continue. You have to see how they will continue today. That means whether buyers will take back control or sellers will continue to hold the auction below 35,311 and then take it to 34,682 first. Similarly, in Nifty, we have to see whether buyers or sellers will control the auction. And for this, you need to use tools like market profile and order flow to assess the development of the auction. That's all for today, guys. Have a great trading day and trade carefully. Bye bye.